think we have Lisa in the room now. Lisa, can you hear us?
Hello, here I am.
Oh, it's very, very good to see you.
Finally, because I had to reconnect to Wi-Fi anyway. So good. So, hi. Thank you for welcoming me, and I'm so happy to present this event today and help so many ambitious graduates to enter in the financial world.
It's our honor to have you. It's this is a really rare experience for all of us, a rare opportunity for us to ask you some questions as well. I know we have a Q&A at the end, so if anyone has any questions, make sure to think of them and pop them in the chat at the end. I think the beauty of this presentation, I've seen the slides before, is that this is going to be an interactive event throughout. So, if you have any questions at all, make sure to ask them while you can. So I think.
I also wanted to say that we will really appreciate from Clio on my side, of course, if you're enjoying to share your experience on LinkedIn or anywhere like on social media. And we will be very happy to tag to see if you tag us and so on. So I can also send you the cheat sheet with 200 interview real questions from top corporations such as BlackRock, JP, UBS, and so on. So which will be like so helpful for you when you will prepare your interview.
Brilliant. Yes, and there'll be more details on how you can do this in the slides as well. So yes, to make sure to do that.
And of course, it's increased visibility on LinkedIn, which is always good.
Exactly. So I think if anyone comes in, I can let them in afterwards. So I think we can get started. So Lisa, would you be okay to share your slides? I think.
Sure. But you need to give me like the host.
I think it's I've given you permission now.
Exactly.
Is that yes, I think you have permission to share screen. I think.
Very happy. Okay, it should be this one. So do you see my screen?
I do. If anyone could just pop in the chat, can you see the screen, the slides okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Good. We can see the slides. So
yeah, guys, and write everything. It will be so nice to interact with you through chat as well. So guys, I will start. Hello and welcome to this session, which we talk specifically today about assessment centers, which is so important part to get your job. And as I mentioned on LinkedIn and so on, I have done by myself assessment center in JP Morgan, in Bank of America, in Deutsche Bank in Switzerland. So I pretty know how they're working, and I have friends and colleagues working in Blackstone and UBS and everything. So I know how it works, and I'm so happy to spill you all the secrets to make you successful as well. That's my final goal. And just a few recommendations from my side. Take notes, always useful. Be active. If you have any questions, just write in the chat. We will be happy to answer, as well as it's not free. Ask questions. Of course, we will have interactive session at the end, but if you have any questions in the meantime, so you want to make sure we answer them, just write them. Make sure no one bothers you for the next hour. Please stay focused, and that's it. And just quick recap of what we're going to talk today. Introduction, then how I got a full-time offer in private banking, 5 tips to pass any assessment center successfully, special announcement from my side and from Clio, and special gifts for those who stay till the end. And as I said before, share this beautiful experience on LinkedIn or social media. So let's start on Q&A session. So regarding the cheat sheet on how to get these 200 interview questions, that's very easy. Basically, you just after when we talk, do a screenshot, and then you post the screenshot on LinkedIn, and then you tag us, right? Like, for example, it was a great pleasure to listen in or whatever, like you feel like to share. So then you will have visibilities, and you know, managing directors and executives can see that you're following this, and you know, your network will grow, of course, and we will be happy to send you this cheat sheet once you published it. So very easy. Don't forget to tag me, Lisa, Tyshchenko, and Cleo. And I would really like to meet you now. So I would really love to know, first of all, where you're from. If you could write the city and the country. I would like to know your current occupation. So if you're a student, graduate, maybe you're already working, who knows, and you want to change your career field. And of course, at this stage, your university and company. So I'll give you like a few minutes and let me know. So London student, Queen Mary University. Wow, congratulations. London student, UCL. Beautiful. Switzerland, Geneva, amazing. Exeter University, University of Nottingham, Warwick. Wow, you're so quick. Of Lagos, Nigeria. Wow, it's so international. I'm impressed. Then we have Manchester. Okay, Warwick, great. Queen Mary, I see a lot of UK, but I'm so, oh, LSE, wow. India, Paris, JAM, that's where I studied. Amazing. Okay, so it's very, very international, very happy. It's a very amazing opportunity to network as well. And I'm so happy to have such an international culture as well. We have, again, okay, Queen Mary. So a lot of Queen Marys. Great. So a little bit then of from my side. So my name is Lisa Tyshchenko. And from my name, you can see that it's it's probably a little bit like from Eastern Europe. Actually, I'm from Ukraine, but I grew up in Italy, and I'm Italian now by nationality. And as soon as I was 18, I decided to spend more time outside of my country, Italy, and I studied in France, in Italy indeed, and then I did my internship in Amsterdam, London, and after my master in finance, I went back to Switzerland. But more precisely, today, after my 2 years of private banking, I'm a founder of Millennia Consulting Group, where indeed I'm helping individuals like you or graduates or for example, anybody who is in a working space but want to change their career to succeed in job in finance. And I help already 100 plus students to get help in financial institutions. Again, UBS, JP Morgan, Crédit Agricole, Deutsche Bank, and so on. So specifically investment banking, private equity, asset management, wealth management, and so on. I also interviewed 25 plus managing directors from top banks. So that's why what I teach, it's absolutely like proved and it's guaranteed, because I don't know who been following me on LinkedIn, but I always post some posts with managing directors, even like from Goldman Sachs or Citibank and so on. And they helped me a lot to build a successful strategy that time to time I teach through my boot camps or through my coaching sessions. As I mentioned before, I'm a former relationship manager associate at Swiss Private Bank, as well as I have spent 1 year in wealth management graduate analyst in Deutsche Bank International Private Bank. So I did my training in Canary Wharf, I did Geneva and Zurich as well. And finally, I completed my master in finance at Grenoble École de Management, which is a great school in France. And by the way, who doesn't follow me on LinkedIn, you can just scan this QR code with your phone, very easy through your camera. So you can always be updated with future events. So I will be very happy to be in touch with you to help you, or if you have any questions in the future. So if you don't have, just make sure to scan with the phone like this, and it will open my LinkedIn account. Okay, I just leave you 30 seconds to do it. It's so nice today to have QR codes, so it's so easy, like quite automated. Yeah. And of course, make sure to follow Klee. Actually, I think all those people who are coming, it's already great followers of such an amazing finance society, but in case. And last but not least, I'm going to now to share in chat. I have also a community on Telegram called Career Lounge with my name. And basically, as you can see, I'm also posting time to time offers from JP Morgan, just as a recent example, or one time we had a beautiful offer also from Goldman Sachs in Geneva. So I have some partnership with some banks, and every time I have an opportunity, I post there. So it will be a great pleasure to have you inside. And to do it, you need, to follow this link on your phone, if you can. Or you just write Lisa Career Lounge, something like this. Okay, guys, I don't want to bother you anymore. I want to start as soon as possible to tell you as much as insight as you can. So why I'm here today? I'm here today because, as many of you, I started the grade school. I mean, I started actually University of Parma, which was in Italy, just like a public school. And I went like all the way up, honestly. So from Parma, I went to Catch Business School, and then I did an internship in PepsiCo, and then I ended up in Master in Finance in Grenoble, and then I ended up in Deutsche Bank. So my resume is looking pretty like this, you know, like in 3 years, I just did this big, sorry, just going to close, just this big like performance. And sometimes like from when you look at LinkedIn, it sounds very, very easy and very like kind of straightforward. However, my path has been very far away from here, and it has been a little bit like this. So like I started before entering in private banking at 23 years old, just to give you an example, as a waitress. And you know, as not having any experience and coming from just a normal school in Italy, I have been rejected in Bocconi, which was my dream school. And I've been rejected actually because I wanted to do a bachelor in English. So I had to go to London to learn English. And of course, as my first job again was working as a cashier, actually in a restaurant called Pret a Manger, maybe you know it. And then after I left, after a few months, I entered the University of Parma. And my dream at this point was always to study abroad. And therefore, I did my application for Boston College. I've been rejected again because of my English, basically. And finally, my school really believed in me. And through my grades and my great performance, I entered in Catch Business School, which is quite a great school in France. And however, when I was there, I started to apply to find internships, right? So I Googled, I built my own CV and so on. And I tried to get one internship just to have in my CV, but I have been anyway rejected like at least 100 times. And funny enough, even Pepsi Cola, which was kind of company I was aiming to enter because I wanted to enter like in a big multinational, rejected me. And after 1 month, they called me to get me back. And then once I completed my internship, I thought, okay, now it's a moment that I will not be rejected anymore, because anyway, I'm going to Great Master, which was in Grenoble École de Management. And I can achieve what I want, right? It's a great school, it's top 5, actually it's 15 numbers in the world, but still I was rejected again. And that's why I realized that it's not enough to be in a great school. It's not enough to have good grades. It's not enough, you know, write a nice cover letter motivation, because there is a specific basically strategy to get into. So that's where I will explain you later. I did a step back and I started to research a lot. I started to network with successful candidates. I started to, to meet executives, to talk with them and so on. That's where after I managed to get directly without any internship, without any banking experience, full-time job, very proud to say 90,000 Swiss francs offer without bonus, so which could be up for 120, basically in Deutsche Bank, with a full-time contract, with a training in London, paid. and you know, many more advantages between living in Zurich and Geneva. So my past, unfortunately, was not easy, as you saw in the slides before. It was very, very traumatic, and I always say I wish I knew the right strategy before getting like in Deutsche. And just wanted to say again that not long ago I was exactly in your position. I believe that attending one of the great school, like as you can see in the picture, which is very, very like well reputed, will guarantee me a job, and unfortunately didn't, because everything happened when I started to do my first interview with Nomura, which is a kind of Japanese investment bank. And then that's where they were, you know, giving me these tricky questions and asking me all these like, you know, brain teasers, so technical questions, where I understood that, you know, it's not that easy to enter in bank. It's not enough like to have good grades. It's not enough to have great school. It's not really enough. So at the stage after Nomura, I knew I was like screwed, right? I mean, you have this embarrassment all the time that you don't succeed, and you know that it's like over. You're like just on the phone talking with them, but you knew. So this is where my scenario started to repeat, right? When I was explaining you, so I could not even like pass application processes because I was just rejected and rejected. And that's where, as I said before, I started to spend hours to find this successful recipe. And this was my assessment center indeed in Deutsche Bank. And I was always like interviewing successful candidates to understand why they were succeeding and why I was always failing. And that's where finally my happy end arrived, and finally I got my offer in Deutsche Bank as well as in JP and Bank of America with a full-time contract. Okay, it was a little bit my story. And after this, I have spent 100. I have helped 100 plus financial aspirants to get the same result as I did. And that's a very nice comment from Fatma, which is now a good friend of mine. She's working in Goldman Sachs, and she did one of my bootcamp. And she said that thanks to Lisa, I was able to overcome my career decision by clarifying goals, understanding what exactly I want to achieve based on my interest. And my bootcamp was incredibly insightful, and she's very confident about her past and how to succeed. Okay, and today I would like finally to tell you how to succeed in assessment center and how does it work, and like what you need in this secret recipe to make sure you go out of assessment center and you have an offer. And I just actually want to see if any of you like write any questions. So no questions. Okay. So basically, I would like first to explain what is an assessment center, because if you understand what is an assessment center, then it will be so easy to understand what is the final goal of assessment center and what you need to work on to succeed in assessment center. I have wrote you that the goal is to assess your abilities and determine your suitability to work for a specific position. They want to see how you work as part of the team and how you operate in the group. So basically, as you can see, it's not about to assess your technical knowledge, or it's not about to assess how you are good in a subject. It's not about to assess, you know, how do you know more about the position you're going to work. It's literally to assess your suitability to work in a specific position. So you have it basically to think in that way. They want to assess your ability to work with them as with your future colleagues. So basically, these people who comes to assessing assessment centers, they just want to see if they can work basically with you, if you're able to work in a teamwork, if you're able, like, you know, to handle like a difficult situation, if you have any leadership position. They don't want to check your technical skills. Of course, technical skills are very useful, but that's mistake number one I see from everybody. They just prepare on non-technical. They say, okay, I know everything. I have CFA. I have been working in other banking positions, so I'm cool. I will succeed. I will, I will screw it. No, it's not like this. I personally been to 3 assessment centers the same time, the same year. I told you I don't have any experience with banking. I had people who worked in Goldman Sachs. I had people who worked in, who had 2 levels of CFA. I had people who had like experience, literally, and they were not taken because they were able to show that they were able like to work in that company as a colleague they wanted to, so to say. So as you can see in my comment below, it's not enough to be the smartest in the room. Just literally forget it. Like, it's not enough to have like all this great GPA, all these things. It's like this little requirements that just help you to go through. But when you're in assessment center, you don't need to be the smartest in the room, which is a very great news, because I think it will give you like a lot of confidence. And I just want to do a quiz with you. Just write true or false. What do you think? Do all the companies have assessment centers? True or false? Oh, wow, it's very like balanced. I'm very surprised.
We have a good mix of true and false here, yes.
Yeah, so very happy. So basically, I will say it's quite like 50-50, but I see also quite answers with true. And the good answer in this case, not all companies have assessment centers. True or false? It's true. And so that means that's another good news, right? So that means that not always you have to go to assessment centers, but pay attention. Most of these financial institutions have an assessment center. And I want to ask you another questions, which is going to be very fun. Which famous investment bank you think does not have assessment centers, like at all, literally? Morgan Stanley, Goldman, who else? Okay, Goldman puts a bank, GPM, BofA, Goldman, Investec. I see good answers as well. Okay, I'm going to spill you the secrets, which is very surprising for most of you, that basically the investment bank that doesn't have assessment center at all, it's Goldman Sachs. Actually, of course, you heard about the crazy interview rounds they have, but this company basically, they believe that assessing you by interviews is like more efficient than assessing you during an assessment center by the like assessment center. And I think, guys, it's a good time to screenshot and publish it. So if you want to take this opportunity to screenshot and publish this information on LinkedIn, and if you really liked it, that's a good time. So I'm going to do like this if you want to screenshot. Okay. Now I would like to explain you what to expect from assessment center. So assessment center, it's not something like very short, like you go 1 hour, 2 hours, you're done. Usually it's like a big thing. It's like either half of the day or full day. It also depends how the company wants to organize it. Like there are very nice companies who do also like evening events or like cocktail events or something like that. There are companies who prefer to do it early morning, like more like breakfast lunch style. There are companies who prefer to do like in the middle. But anyway, just take it into account. It's like half a full day. Also, it's going to be like various exercises, so time will fly. It's not just about like, as Goldman Sachs is doing 15 interviews, it's going to be very, very interactive, right? And very underestimated fact, it's also good for networking opportunities, because you're going to meet always like top executives and juniors. Why executives? Because they want to see you how you're working, and juniors are there usually to show you how the day today is looking like. just to give you like this kind of insight information. Lunch is provided, so you don't have like really to worry about like how to do, or like if to go outside or so on. And last but not least, which is very important, companies are covering 100% of your expenses. So for example, when I went to Bank of America, I was at time in France, and they really arranged me like the flights, the hotel, transportation, the food. Actually, there was also a guy who was in Canada, and they let him fly to Canada to this assessment center in Bank of America. So just to say that they take it very, very serious. And if they invite you and they pay for you, they definitely have serious intentions. That's a very, very good sign, as I said. And another important information is that you don't have to expect like 100 or 2 people, of course. It's going to be like medium, like from 5 to 10 candidates, and usually 1 or 2 candidates get the offer. So as you can see, like the environment is quite competitive because somebody's going to get the offer, so everybody have to shine. And like basically how an assessment center is structured, I have divided like in four pieces. So the first piece, it's a test. So basically in assessment center, I will say if you're quite unlucky, but on the other hand, a lot of banks like to do it, they're going to test you again as you did through application process about numerical, logical, verbal, situation judgment test. That's a very tricky because we all know that, you know, sometimes maybe your friends help you to do the test. Sometimes maybe, you know, you got a little bit of luck, or maybe anyway, you know, I mean, there can be like hundreds of situations where you pass, or maybe because you're super trained. But here, like, really don't underestimate. They're going to ask you not the same, but a very like typical test. It's already like to screen you. And don't worry, there are a lot of companies. I can give you some website after who provides you like good training with the test. Basically, they give you numerical, logical, verbal, and sometimes in some companies they also filter it by bank, so you can do a test of JP or Deutsche Bank and so on, and then they will give you also a feedback by the end. So that means that you can really like be trained, and so to say, you can be very successful during the testing assessment center. So don't worry about that, that's a way. But what I want to say to you that don't underestimate the test. And then we will have a group case study. That's like literally impossible to avoid. So that's a very important part of assessment center, because this is where they're going to assess you how you work in the group. And basically there can be like hundreds and hundreds of possibilities for what you will have to do as a group. But basically time to time, they want to see you like a client. They give you client case study, or maybe they're going to give you like a kind of like situation of a corporate of the bank, and that they have a problem, so how to come up with a solution with the team, what they will do. But it's always like kind of like oriented on client basis to see how would you help and how would you react. And as I wrote before, it's going to be a group or individual presentation. Usually it's a group presentation, so you will be like in teams and you have to come up with a common solution. And sometimes what is funny in Deutsche Bank happened is that they give you like, basically they give you like a problem, and then they find themselves like 10 solutions. And then they gave us like, to me, like 2 paper, and then to other candidate 2 paper, and then to other candidate 2 paper, and so on. And what was funny is that one solution was unique. So one of my solutions that Deutsche Bank gave to me and to the other candidates was unique. However, the other solution was like a common solution. So maybe me and the guy in front has a common solution, and then the other 2 had a common solution. So, but all the group had to come out with 2 common solutions. So as you can see, this is a debate. And this is exactly, they want to see how as a group you will agree on the solution, because there was not a perfect solution, right? It was just how all together we come with a solution, and why we will come to the solution. And I will give you more tips after but like few tips now, is just literally take into consideration everybody's opinions. Always ask, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Like, and that's already give you a little bit like a leadership position. And also, last but not least, if you see somebody is not speaking up or everything, just try to include them in the conversation. That's the most tips that get you like successful in a group case study. And then the fourth, it's interviews. And again, there is no escape. Basically, what will happen is that they will take like 3 or 5 managing directors, and then they will assign, so to say, 3 to me, 3 to the other candidates. We're not going to go through the same, but basically it's more or less like, you know, how it's functioning. And usually it's like one after another. Like you enter, you talk with one 30 minutes, then you go to another, and then you go to another. Or it can be mixed with juniors, and you know, just to assess, like, or maybe with associate, if you fit on daily basis. So I have specific tips after, but here you need a very like high level preparation that usually I teach a lot during my boot camps, and very happy to see if you will join. And then the last but not least, it's networking. So like I have put this 4 because you will say, but networking, I just go and say, hi, hello, nice to meet you. My name is Lisa. What do you do? What do you study? No, it's not like this. I have put like this 4th pillar because a lot of people, when they don't do the pillar 1 test, pillar 2 group case study, interviews, they just relax. They just think that, okay, as I'm not doing like one of the 3, and now it's like free time and everything, I will just relax. I'm going like to text my mom that I'm doing good, or I don't know what else. So maybe, you know, of course you can go to the toilet and so on, but so to say, like they just think like it's a free time, like let me go like to have a glass of water and just take a 10 minutes break. Like, no, that's absolutely like crucial time where you need like to network, because there will be always like an HR or an executive or somebody who representative, somebody who's like responsible, like whatever. And that's an opportunity to talk with that people, and not like you know, only ask about business, but also like a little bit like on human base. So basically you can ask like, where are you from, like how long have you been doing in this bank, or what is your favorite part of your job, or like what any recommendations that will you give to any junior, or so on. So what I'm trying to say is that like you really have to take it seriously. When I was in Deutsche Bank Assessment Center, which was, by the way, my favorite assessment center, that's why I chose it and chose this company and so on. At some point, we had this lunch break, and like 3 managing directors came, and we had a buffet. And of course, everybody grabbed food, like a little bit like shy, you know, because you never know, like take too little, too much. Well, that's not important. But like perfectly remember that we created like a circle, and like literally for 3 minutes, nobody opened like a mouth, like the mouth. Literally like just silent and eating and like scary and shaking and so afraid. And I was the only one who broke the silence and started to speak. And as I said, with very like simple like icebreaker conversation, like where you're from and how long have you been and are you colleagues, or and it was like so fun at the end, right? And then everybody started to speak, but they saw me as a very friendly friend, right? Not friend, sorry, as a very friendly person, as a person who can be their colleague. And I will never remember also a sentence that a managing director said at the end of assessment center. When we sat all down in a big meeting room, a woman said, you know, guys, you have done all amazing and everything, but next time you will enter through these doors, you will be our colleague, and we will treat you like equally, like other colleagues. And I will never forget the sentence, because nevertheless it was like simple and quite clear. Like that was what I wanted to say you everything about assessment center. People want to see if you're able to work as a human. They want to see if they're able to speak with you. They want to see if they're able to go out with you as well for after work drink. They want to see that, you know, they don't want just to see if you're able to do some LBO or DCF or valuation methodology. No, this will you learn. Like what you will not learn is human relationships. So now, guys, as I'm speaking a lot, give me some feedback. Put a plus like this if you are liking and you find it useful. Yay, so many. Okay. Yeah, wow, plus, 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 plus. Thank you, QM. Thank you so much, Dylan, Edis, everybody. Thank you. Okay, then I continue. So as I told you this, I'm going to give you like 5 specific tips, okay? That in my opinion are crucial to succeed in any assessment center. The number 1 tip, which you will find a little bit like, what does she mean? But what I want to say, preparation is key here. And like, okay, when I tell you this example, and I want you to remember, when Bank of America called me and they're like, we invite you to assessment center next week. I took my laptop, I closed, and I went to prepare. Like like when they call you for assessment center, it has to be your top preparation because you're that close to get that position. They really like you. So of course, I'm not saying like abandon everything you're doing and like bye-bye, but you need to take it like very, very seriously. You have to feel it yours. You have like to be committed. You have to, you know, to give your best, right? So my little tips of this preparation is not only okay, prepare about like all this kind of technical question or you know, CV based question and so on. You also have to do these 4 things. So practice tests, as I said before. Actually, I left you some website here, www.graduatefirst.com or canexa.com. Actually, there are much many. Just choose the one you like, but just to prove you that there are companies that helps you to get. Of course, they're not like super cheap sometimes and so on, but it's a great investment for you. The second tip is that like from that moment on, not from that moment on actually, but from that moment on, you have to read more financial news. Like you have to know everything what is going in the market. You have to know everything what is going with the company. Like you have to be obsessed with financial news and everything, because in assessment center, I told you, they want to assess not how smart you are, but as like human base, as I said before, but also culture you are. What is happening in the news? What are the threats for the bank? What are the competitive advantages of the bank? What are the investment opportunities for the bank? What can happen that the bank has to think differently? How can you contribute to the future of the bank or financial institution according to what just happened, right? So you have to like read like everything really. Like as much as you can. Also because sometimes when you have case studies, unfortunately, sometimes they are based on the news. And as a consequence, if they're based on the news, they want also to come up with a solution according to what happened in the past or what is going on in the market and so on. So that's my biggest advice. And the third advice, know the company. So don't underestimate that you're going there, okay, you're an assessment center. We all understood that you like JP Morgan. So, okay, that's skip. No, like here, you have really go to the website or go to any YouTube videos or whatever you find and find the culture, the values of that company. So when you go there, you almost behave as these banks want you to behave the employees. So, for example, if JP Morgan is currently doing some ESG, you know, like implementation, they're doing some ESG projects. Of course, they're doing all this sustainable. It's not an example, but like try to speak in the language, right? Or like, for example, if they are all about integration or, for example, multicultural environment, try to try to give them answers accordingly to what they want to hear. So I really want to work in this bank because it gives me opportunity to work with many different nationalities. And as in my master, I always embrace nationalities because I'm doing student representative as well. I think it's a great fit for me because that's where I feel comfortable and so on. So that was a little example. And then, actually it was 3. Okay, I'm going forward. So this was my 3 little tips when I say you prepare, preparation is key, okay? That's where I don't want you to fail. My second tip of the 5, it's don't fail group exercises. Really like, it's okay to fail the test. It's okay to fail some questions, of course, in the interview questions. But if they see that you failed the group exercise, that's very bad, honestly. So if you have all the 4 pillars to focus, like on your weaknesses, if you have, it should be like the group exercise. Because if they see by chance, like just by chance, that you're not able to work in the team, or you don't behave as a teammate, or you don't have any kind of skills to work with other people, they will never, ever, ever hire you. Even though I told you before, like in interview questions, you're fantastic. In the test, you're fantastic. Well, networking, I'm not sure, because if you don't know how to do groups, I don't know how you could do networking. But you see, guys, if they see by any chance you don't know how to work, bye-bye. And I brought you some tips what a perfect team player should do. So a perfect team player is someone who remember people names. Like that's, I know it's a little bit stupid, but it's also unfortunately the weaknesses #1 of people who, of common people. I to be honest, I also forget names. But if I ask you, like, please, just, it's a day, don't forget any name, it should be assessment center. Really don't forget names. It's just politeness, it's just this, it's again a show, like you show like you are integrated, right? You understand, you value people, you're respectful, and so on. The second one, offer to keep track of time. So for example, when you're doing your group exercise, like you can, like I can, for example, you manage the task and everything, and as a leader or as a team player, you can say, by the way, I'm very happy to keep track of the time, so we make sure that we are ahead of the deadline, or we respect the deadline rules. Also, #3, keep the team on track. As I said before, like if you can make sure that you have this kind of management skill where you make sure that everything is smooth, like the group work is going well, then you should be able to keep your team on track. #4, plays a leadership role. That's cannot be immediate, because if you start your leadership skill like literally from the beginning, like from the first moment, you will behave as rude. So as a consequence, it's better that people give you trust. So basically, they need to trust you. Once they trust you, and once they see that you are able to keep track of time, able to keep your team on track, and you always ask for opinion, and you always ask what others think, then they give trust to you, right? And as a trustworthy person, then they unconsciously assign you this leadership role. And as a leadership, then when you can stand up and say, okay, I'm going to do now the recap on the desk, and would you mind if I present? That's when it's like bingo, honestly. And #5, it's, as I said before, I'm not going to repeat, a good team player is the one who brings other people into conversation. #6, he asked, what do you think? Do you agree? That's what I said you before. Laura, what do you think about the solution? Would you agree? Yes, no. Stefano, what's in your opinion the best solution of what we have discussed? That's so simple. Just do it. And #7, every time you have a suggestion, like don't give a suggestion just because like you feel like the other gave it, so it's a simpler way. No, give a suggestion because you have a good reason behind it, because you have a belief, because you think it's good. So be yourself. And finally, makes other feels comfortable. So that's what defines, as I said before, a good leader, right? So there will be always this person who it's a little bit like shy, another person who feels uncomfortable, another person who feels nervous. If you're able to give them like this kind of energy and feel comfortable, then you did again, as I said, like you met your goal. And tip number 3, it's practice your presentation skills. So I said before, right? You will have a group work. So you know that you're going to present, and you go in that it's the hardest, because that's where all the managing director look at you. That's where your team look at you. That's where, you know, you have to shine and everything. And that's the hardest. It's normal. So what you should be able to do is to practice your presentation skill. And to do it, remember that you don't have to have like overcomplicated solution. I really saw that people hated that when they saw overcomplicated solution. The solutions are very simple. Like, is it like this? Is it like that? Like, it's not that we have to come with 3, how can I say, 3 suggestions or 3 assumptions of the environment, so then you do 3 solutions. No, it's okay also, of course, to have plan B, plan A and everything, but just 1 solution, please. And then always know how to back up your solutions. So don't give a solution if you don't know like why it should be like that, right? And then as a number 3, don't talk more than others. That's the greatest mistake. Like literally, actually, if I could give you one more tip, like official tip, like literally don't talk more than others. It's so rude, and also it just overcomplicate everything. People cannot follow you, people get annoyed. You don't let talk others, and you just like ruin all the presentation just because you cannot shut up, right? You had your time, respect your time. And then if you don't know an answer because managing director will, for example, challenge you, just don't panic. Just say, I will be very happy to research about that. Or like you just say, well, I think it could be like this, that, but I'm very happy to think about this and give you like another solution or something like this. But just don't invent or don't panic or don't like defend only your solution and so on. And number 5, be yourself. I think, like I always like to say, fake till you make it, like fake it till you make it, because like you have really to fake it, right? Like to be, for example, comfortable, not to be like agitated the day, but I want you to be yourself, because if you're not, then it's going not to last long and people can really feel it, right? So be yourself. And one of my tips is it feels very awkward, but what you can try to do is to record yourself. So actually it's a very good practice. You just like whatever you want to present, like maybe it's like a business idea, or maybe whatever you want to practice on, it doesn't matter, but just you can record yourself. And for example, you'll be very surprised that when you record yourself, maybe you sit like this and it's not very nice, maybe you touch your hairs, maybe I'm just saying an example, you do like this with hands, and maybe it seems so much. So if you record yourself for 5 minutes, even like on a normal topic, just try to see how you speak. And if you want to go on an upper level, just ask for feedback to somebody. So for example, you can, even to your mom or to your friend, just, hey, would you mind hearing me? What do you think? Like what perception I give to you? Okay, that's it. And number 4, it's use the STAR methodology. So basically what is STAR methodology? It's a very famous technique to answer a question. It's situation, task, action, response. So very easy to remember STAR. Why I'm telling you this? Because you will always have the question tell me the last time you had a difficult situation, a conflict with the team, a team experience, a leadership role, how you overcome an obstacle. It doesn't matter. It just tell me the last time. So basically, they want to see how you overcame like a complicated situation to know you better. So this is a very like powerful technique because as you can see, it's very organized and you cannot fail. And the good tip is that if you prepare, for example, 5 of them, like tell me the last time you have a leadership or teamwork, difficult situation, a conflict, like it will be always the same. So you basically already have the ready answer. And this is like a little example that I prepared for you, which it could be like quite valid. So for example, during my tea time as HR intern, so in a situation, you are describing in which situation you were, a task. One of my tasks was to help to manage a smooth handover for new employers. So action, I successfully organized training programs for all sales team members to ensure that everyone was confident in their new role. And as a result, this is the most important, they were able to increase sales by 5% within first months in the new team. So basically, you give a good impression to the recruiter or executive or whoever interviewing you, because they see that like it was a real situation and you really overcame it well. It's normal to have challenges and they just want to see how you react to this difficult situation. So it's not good, like if they ask you, tell me the last time you have a leadership skill, you say, yeah, leadership skill, let me think. Yeah, one time during, I don't know, like corporate finance, I did my presentation on valuation methods, and I don't know, I was like the first in the class, and everybody congratulated with me. I mean, it doesn't give like anything. Is this what I'm trying to say? This kind of being like the smartest and everything. It doesn't like give you, it's just how you overcome the difficult situation with your team and or alone or in the class or in the work environment. And my tip number 5, which is the final one, but it's not finished, so stay till the end. It's not to be competitive. Like really, that's another mistake that I saw doing a lot, which make fail a lot of people on assessment center. It's to be like competitive and I'm the best. I'm coming from a good school. For example, I'm coming from Grenoble École de Management, so sometimes for people who don't know like really the ranking, it doesn't really sound like I don't know, business school, right? It's like École de Management, which actually in French is like an elite school. So when, for example, I was in Bank of America with this Canadian guy who was, by the way, not even hired, he was like, what school it is? Like, what school it is? And I'm like, yeah, it's a very good school. It's a very good master, la, la, la. I never heard, like, I mean, be like friendly, right? Don't be competitive. I mean, I know he was going also to a good school and everything, but I really see a lot of people who are competitive and who are like, oh, I just came from also Morgan Stanley like assessment center. Okay, and what? Like, you know, I was in Bank of America actually with 100,000 offer, like, which was, by the way, a paper with a shiny golden, like, I don't know, whatever you want, like label on it, and I was not, you know, like showing off or being like competitive or being like rude to people. I always was like open, very humble and everything. And yeah, that's my final tip for assessment center, because unfortunately that's what can really like ruin all your beautiful preparation. So now I would like to know from 0 to 10, how all of this was useful to you. Oh, 10, 111, 10. Okay, 8, 9, maybe these people have some questions, very happy. 10, 10, 10. Okay, Leon have 4, very happy to give you insights. Love have, okay. So very happy that the average has been, wow, 1,000,000, 10. Well, for those people who wrote like -3 that I hope like it's a joke, I just want you next time to come here and to present. So I will be very more than happy to like to hear your advice as well. Ah, okay. Okay, actually it was a mistake. Okay, sorry, my misunderstanding. Okay, so I'm very happy. And sorry, for the recording, I think you will have a link.
Yes, so the recording will be both on YouTube and on our gen. I'll explain it at the end of the call. Yeah.
Okay, and for the cheat sheet, before I go ahead and explain it again, so just if you want, I just come back like for another page. Just I don't know. For example, we can put, yeah, for example, this one. So if you so for example, you can screenshot now. Oh, sorry. Screenshot now. And then you just can publish this like on LinkedIn, for example. You can tag us, Clio and Lisa Tyshchenko. You can write maybe a takeaway, because when you write takeaways, it always means that you will be more likely to implement the actions. And then just share. And once we see your name on LinkedIn and we receive a push notification, we will send you the cheat sheet in private. So we're not going to share it like on publicly on our chat here. So as so here actually was explanation. So I would like to ask as well to you, what is your goal? Like, I would like to hear of you. So now you're students, you are all have this bright career in front of you, and what is like your final goal? What do you want? What would you like to do? Like earning a lot of money? Maybe you want to have a full-time offer. Maybe you want to live in another city, or what would you like to do? Let's see. Full-time offer, a job that enjoy top company, working in top company, be challenged. Very nice. Working in top company, best professionals, work globally. Money, well-being, young. Oh yes. Start my own hedge fund. Wow, that's very ambitious, Chris. Wow, Victor wants to become a billionaire here. Drexler would like to work in and learning from the best. Improve my financial modeling skills, money plus top company. Anyway, I see that you're all very ambitious to enter like in top institutions, probably to change the city, like earning money and so on. Somebody I see private equity, somebody wants client-facing role. So every time trader and angel investor, very ambitious. Okay, fantastic. Be financially free before 24. Wow. That's very inspiring as well. I really like all of you because you're very ambitious. So working with others who have a drive to work hard and become experts in finance. That's good. Just to let you know that whatever your ambition is, for example, that was one of my previous students who I mentored, and Andrea also wanted, as you, like to without no even like one banking experience, he wanted to work in a top company, a top position, as you like earning money. And as you can see now, he is a relationship manager assistant, client-facing role in Crédit Agricole. And as you can see, with no working experience, you know how to find a job. Lisa's strategies allowed me to land my dream job in top bank in just 3 months. While Michael, who is now a junior portfolio manager in General Insurance, as well, as he never had any banking experience, we really worked out about like a strategy and his CV, his cover letter, his LinkedIn, everything. And he also learned any strategy to master an interview, and he was very happy. So as you can see, whatever is your dream, it's possible. And I think that before going to assessment center and finally get this assessment center so you can practice, you can go and practice and so on, it's very important to start with a great cover letter, a CV, and LinkedIn, because unfortunately, it's our like business card. That's the first impression that recruiters or executives or organizers of assessment centers and so on like look at you. And today LinkedIn is more important than ever, because as everybody is on LinkedIn, that's why they're going to check what you do, how you behave, how you write, what you're looking for, and so on. And that's why with my company, we have introduced for this month only, so for December on, professional CV and cover letters writing services, of course, LinkedIn included as well. Because I used to organize like boot camps and with managing directors as well and everything, but I'm doing this only 2 times in a year. And the doors officially closed for this year. I'm happy to tell you when is the next day. However, we open only for now CV and cover letters writing services, which I think it's better, as in December so there are going to be like new openings for the next year and everything. So you will be well prepared in advance. And as you can see, from the left to the right, the transformation can be like very, very enormous. For example, on the left, which by the way, we are speaking about the same person on the left and on the right, but Giorgio, who has been indeed my client, he had also like an amazing school, so to say, and he has been doing an internship and everything. Actually, he was very, very good in trading, and he kind of won like a trading club or something like that. But as you can see from his CV on the left, he doesn't know how to sell himself. And also the template itself, it's wrong. So a person like Giorgio, he doesn't have, actually, I don't want to say any chance, but like definitely a bumpy road, as I was telling you before, to get into the bank. But in 24 hours, from 24, 48 hours, he got this CV on the right, which by the way is the same person because it doesn't seem. But as you can see, he will have restructured all his CV. And his CV is much more appealing. It's following like banking standards. And as you can see in the CV, he's showing all this kind of like accomplishment and action verbs, which really show to recruiters that he's able to deliver, or he's able to take action. He's really like a driven result person. While on the left, he just doesn't give any any insight to as I said before, to get in the bank. And when I was telling to you before, my story was I was not getting like any job and everything, and I was struggling because nobody was giving me the right information on how to structure the CV, or how to write it and so on. So basically I was sending the CV on the left, which I was like, wow, that's very fancy. It's a little bit gray and blue. And I have even put like my picture in black and white. I thought it was special, but that's exactly where, my CV was like completely like rejected, because that cannot work for any bank. So it was only when I started to pay thousands for a company who restructured to me, I got the CV on the right, which worked pretty well. And with the right strategies that I use inside on how to write it, basically, I started to get interviews and assessment centers and everything. And basically, how it worked, that actually, of course, this company exists, but a lot of companies, they use just artificial intelligence, or they use robot just to produce your CV. However, we are not doing this. So it's really like a professional one-on-one consultation, where they're going to assess you on your case basis. So then they're going to see all your kind of weaknesses that you have on your CV, and they're going to turn this into strengths. As well as it's very important to use the right template. So with my company, we always provide like the correct templates that are getting like successfully, like in companies like Goldman, Morgan, and UBS. So that's also a very big advantage as other companies. They only use like this kind of templates that don't really work out, and they don't know like your situation. And finally, I think it's very important like to have a chat assistant where once your CV or cover letter or LinkedIn is done, you can always ask questions. So if you want to tailor it or whatever, we are always happy to help. And as I think it's not only enough to have like your CV or cover letter or LinkedIn in that case, it's also important to have like extra bonuses that really help to get you in. So some bonuses that has helped my students and clients before has been like successful cover letters from JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Citibank, UBS. So every time you apply, you can just take like example or template from the successful people who got into. So you can like just tailor it to yourself, but you still know how it has to be done correctly. So the company will like it. But also I think it's very important to have like some posts that really show how expert you are. So when the recruiters look at your LinkedIn, they can see that you really have knowledge and you really know exactly what you're talking about and so on. So I'm very happy to share this. And then last but not least, 10 interview experience. So basically, you will receive all the information of all the rounds and interview experience that you know, will help you to see how the assessment center or interview is structured. So when with your CV, cover letter, and LinkedIn, you will be invited for these interviews, you know exactly like how to handle this kind of interview experience. And last but not least, I think I also believe that it's not good to work on volumes, but it's good to work on qualities. For this reason, the service is only for 10 lucky people from hopefully from this webinar, because I don't have any more spaces, because now it's always everything is fully booked, and we are not, as I said, working on volume, but working on the quality to make sure that your CV is perfectly tailored and perfectly like structured to succeed in your job interview and in your goal that you brought to me. And as you can see, I have a lot of people who has been like, you know, very happy about the service they got, whether it was a boot camp or just CV or whatever. For example, one of was this guy that I showed you before, whose name is Giorgio, where you can see this on the, sorry, on the right. He wrote that after 2 weeks, he started applying for internship, and in a very short time, I was hired for an internship in American Bank in Luxembourg. Arad Anurag Sor is writing that I was very like insightful and instrumental education about finance industry in Europe. Bilal, he also working now in EY after speaking to the managing director that, of course, I provided through my coachings, and as well Fadi, he got an internship with Bank of America as well, because we were able to restructure successfully his CV, cover letter, and LinkedIn. And in my opinion, it's very important to have a professional written CV, because it's going to make you valuable in the eyes of recruiters, but it's also very important to make a good first impression. It's going to help you to find a job faster, and also it gets notice you more. So it's just not about like having a CV and just show like what you're doing and like what kind of studies you do or where you have been working. It's really to show who you are, to show your personal brand, and to show in 10 seconds, because actually that's the time they take to look at the CV, how you can contribute to the company. So the service is only for people, by the way, 10 people who students who have been rejected at least 3 times, so they're not going through successfully interview process, students who keep failing at their job search, graduates who are looking to work at the best finance companies, and rest graduates to be in general. And basically, this is usually the packages I offer for those who come to me, so without doing any webinar. So in the CV, they receive one-on-one session, the restructuring, the template, everything optimized for the ATS system, which is a system that banks use to reject you automatically, so you will not be rejected. It costs 150. However, if you want to do CV and cover letter package, because I always say that CV is nothing without a cover letter. You will have 2 sessions: restructuring of your CV, restructuring of your cover letter, CV template, keyword optimized, formatted for success, the bonuses I told you before, and access to support chat, 250. And the last package is CV, cover letter, and LinkedIn, which is 3 sessions: restructure cover letter, LinkedIn, CV, template, keyword, formatted for success, 3 additional bonuses, access to support chat, and 3 follow-up. So that means that after the sessions, you can always come back and we can have like a follow-up and restructure it again or tailor it or whatever. But as you follow this webinar, and as I all know that you need a little bit of help, I have decided to make a special package for you, which has nothing to do with this. It's only for the CV, to have this brilliant CV like that you saw from the left to the right. It's 99 euro. For those who want CV and cover letter transformation and have them ready and stop with rejections, it's 149. However, the one who want CV, cover letter, and LinkedIn, it's 199. So while other companies are charging 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever, or they ask you to do 10 follow-ups, so you have to spend at least like 500 or whatever, I'm just offering for this low price to the first 10 people who will write to my, I will write the instruction to the email, because as I said, we're not working on the volume, we're working on the quality to make sure that your CV looks outstanding and you can get the job like in few weeks. So results, we want the results guaranteed. And that's again like what you should expect. So for example, as I said before, a CV which is unfortunately not going through applications, and on the right CV is that directly catch the eye of recruiter, so you will be hunted for the job. And again, another example that we worked on is this one on the left, which seems like very, again, innovative, and that was a result on the right that again helped to get into UBS. So you have 3 options, of course. The first one is do nothing and do everything by yourself. I'm perfectly fine. It's your choice. You don't need to harsh. Like, you will have your time, and I will be very happy. As I said, the option 2, you can figure it out on your own, and that means that you can go through these bumpy roads, and figure it out everything by your own. It's also perfectly fine, but it can be very time consuming. So, and the third option is let me help you. So in 24, from 24 to 48 hours, you will have a perfect CV, which will work out your applications. So I'm a big fan of Warren Buffett. Also for those who want to become trillionaires and millionaires, the best investment you can make is investment in yourself. The more you learn, the more you will earn. So don't forget, even after this webinar, that the investment that you make in yourself, whatever opportunity you will have, will always pay off. Because today you're getting this package for 100, but as I said, like the outcome, it can be like 100,000, right? So your return of investment is like, yeah, 10,000 almost. So I will I will really take into account this quote from Warren Buffett in your life. And if you want to secure the package, please write your email in the chat. And no, actually don't write in the chat. Write it. Write it into this email. Okay. Write in this email, and my assistant or myself, we will reply to you, and we will happy to provide you a slot and to talk with you and to meet your goals. So guys, it was a big pleasure talking to you. I hope you learned a lot today. And I'm very happy to come back to your question and answers. So, sorry, something happened. You're not seeing my screen anymore, right?
No, I think, yes. Yeah, you've taken the screen out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Really, thank you very much, Lisa. That presentation was jam-packed full of information, useful tips, and it's great that this is recorded as well, because now it means that everyone can go back, to those tips and and take what we can from them, especially since a lot of us are having interviews and assessment centers coming up. So just a few questions from me before we go to the floor. To start off, a lot of us are first year students applying to Spring Weeks. Now, do assessment centers form part of the process for Spring Week applications as well as summer internships?
No, it's quite different, because in Spring Weeks they're not really willing to do this like huge investments that like an internship or like for graduate programs they're doing. So it's more likely that, for example, if you get your spring interview, you will have like 3 rounds of a phone call, or in that case maybe it can be like a video chat or everything. So no assessment center from Spring Weeks, but take it as an assessment center. That should be the mood.
Okay, so hopefully we can all breathe a huge sigh of relief now. No assessment centers this year, but no, a lot of these tips will also apply to the interviews as well. So this advice is equally as useful. Exactly. So please do put your questions in the chat, or if you want to ask a question to her, yourself, please put your hands up, using the reactions feature in Zoom. And while we're getting those questions through, another question from me. You said that you made 126 finance applications and all of them weren't successful. How was that process for you? How did you persevere through through all that rejection to finally get the dream offer?
Yeah, I think, I mean, the very good question, by the way. The process itself, it's very frustrating, because I feel like after like so many applications, you feel definitely like turned down and you feel something is wrong. But that's exactly the sign, something is going wrong. That's where I think it's better to take a step back, stop applying, stop like getting this negative energy from rejections, and try to understand what is not good, and try to ask for help. Like help can be asked for career centers, help can be asked for the successful candidates, help can be asked for like seniors. And I always say, try to get as much as feedback as you can, and even if it's negative, it's just an opportunity to improve and to succeed. And that's what I did after I was rejected so many times. I did the step back. I took my ugly CV in front of me. I said, that's not going on. I contacted companies. I contacted like my friends who made it and everything, and I started to work it out. I started to do like courses. I started to do to learn extra skills. I started to to take all this like little advices that I was going through, and then that's where finally I understood the strategy, and that's where in one shot I got 3 offers. And I'm sure that if I was going ahead, I will get many more, because of course I was receiving emails to go through interviews.
Brilliant advice. A question from someone who can't ask the question is, what are some questions you would ask an interviewer at the end of an interview, perhaps, to make to really stand out?
Very good question. So that's a tip number one. When you finish your interview, never ever like say, I don't have any questions. So the question I will ask, for example, especially now with COVID, it's very interesting to know what kind of like not strategy, but what the company has done for the employees like during COVID, or how the company see it in the future. And everything, and that's very important, because today the working environment is changing, and if you ask this question, you also like show interest of the company or what they have been doing, or also like you can ask questions more personal, such as what is your like what, so to say, what make you wake up in the morning to go to the job, or like what is like your favorite thing you have been doing the job, why you're still here today working. So that also very interesting for them to brainstorm. So then at the end you can follow up and say, well, that's so insightful, and now I'm even more motivated to work in such a great company.
Brilliant. And then take it to the Deutsche Bank then. Why? Because one of the questions that might come up at an interview is why Deutsche, or why a specific bank in particular. So in your opinion, why is Deutsche Bank the ideal firm to work at?
Okay, so I have been indeed in 3 assessment center in JP Morgan, in Bank of America, and Deutsche Bank at the same time. And I will going to be very honest. It's very simple. When I was in Deutsche Bank, they were treating me like very, very well. So for example, I'm going to say like very stupid example, but the recruiter was coming to you, are you okay? Do you want anything? Would you like a coffee? She was really like, I was thinking like working out to make me feel good as a person. Like I was, yes, it has to be like, it had to be professional, but let's be honest, it was from 9 in the morning till 5, and you cannot stand out all the time. So the stress was so up in a level that that basically it was very important, like to feel comfortable and good. And I should not say what I'm going to say about Bank of America, but when I went there, like they were really treating you like this. Like it was so timely, like you were as a machine, you had to be like as a robot. And I'm sorry to say this, but during the group presentation, the stress was so like to the top, like literally to the top, that one girl fainted. So we were presenting and then bada boom, on the ground, and we had to stop all the presentation because she lost control. And after this I said, do I really want to work in such a competitive environment, or I prefer to go in Switzerland to work in Deutsche Bank, where I was treated well as a person, and I really liked my colleagues. And also, and as a little example, in Deutsche Bank, everybody was really like smiling and positive and, I don't know, calm and welcoming. And in Bank of America, I felt like they kind of made up this theater or stressful environment to make you more feel stressed. Like they were never happy with you. They were never satisfied with you. They were like just next. And honestly, that's what happened. And regarding JP Morgan, it was kind of the middle way, to be honest. Again, this one was actually in Switzerland as well. But the thing is that as I was so happy with Deutsche, and as it was a real graduate program, and the other one were just internship or just a specific job position, I prefer to go for graduate program.
Brilliant. So that shows how the culture is really important when we're important.
Because you have to be happy every day. Like once you it's very nice to write on LinkedIn that you're working in Goldman Sachs, you're working in Bank of America, or you're working Morgan Stanley, and so on. But at the end of the day, you have to come out of the bank or any place you will work in the future, and you have to be happy, right? Because the LinkedIn moment will last like 7 days. For 7 days, people will congratulate with you. But then nobody will congratulate with you, when you're stressed after such a dynamic and stressful day. So
And then maybe looking at your resume is is packed full of of useful experience, and really you could have gone into any sector you wanted to if you so chose to choose to do so. So why did you choose finance out of all the possible careers you could have chosen?
That's a very good question. So I was always like, since I was in high school, I was very good like in mathematics, and I always like numbers. And to be honest, when I was listening to all this news and to all this like finance news, and they were speaking about like CLO and I don't know, futures and forward, and like in general, I could not understand. And of course, I was lucky that during my bachelor, I had like some finance, like really like deep finance subjects, and it was so interesting for me. It was such a fascinating world, and I prefer that if I had to specialize somewhere, I have to specialize in finance. And one of my dreams was just to work in a bank, because I always find inspiring to be one of those like big banks one day, and that's worked out.
And certainly it's inspiring seeing you through that process, and not shying away from the failures either, because it's easy to say, oh, like you say, like you had in that slide, you had, it's easy to say that you had a linear transformation from going to school into your place at Deutsche, but obviously that's not the case, and that's not the case for anyone, is it?
No, anyone, and that's why I decided to create my company, because I was actually in my kind of this finance background, I was always passionate about helping students. Already in the bachelor, I created a platform to help people to succeed in exams like faster and with more successful grades. And when I was in my master's, I decided to be a student representative. I did many things for my school and so on. And I really find out that people don't have the right information on how to apply, how to succeed, what to expect during assessment center, for example, or from professional environment. And I started to specialize myself. I even took like business etiquette courses. As I said, I was speaking always like to these big executives, and that's why I decided after to create this formula, which has been reviewed by them, by the way, and I decided to teach this in boot camps, because unfortunately so many bright minds don't get the jobs they want because they lack information, and that's very sad.
And it's certainly a noble cause that that you've set on. So thinking at the time, we spent an hour and a half, and we're very grateful for the time you spent here. If there are any last questions, please do put them in the chat, or put your hands up. And in the meantime, I just wanted to point you to another resource that might be helpful for you. So I just share my screen now. So Clio has partnered with an organization called OurGen, and this is somewhere where you, like I said before, you'll be able to get the recording and the slides for this presentation. So if you go onto the website, you'll find Clio here. You'll also find a page called Our Insights. And this is essentially a resource bank for you, essentially, that will help you to get insights into in-depth interviews with people who have been successful in getting jobs at these different firms. We're talking about Lazard, HSBC, Deutsche, of course, Goldman. So please do look at this website. I think it'll be very helpful for you. Also, do make sure to sign up to our newsletter. The link is in the chat box below, and certainly follow Lisa's LinkedIn page. Also, the links in the chat, and follow Clio as well on LinkedIn. I think if you do,
yes, follow, because today it's very difficult to get this insightful information, and if you follow this kind of pages like Clio and so on, you'll be always like up to date with these events, which will help you a lot to succeed in your career.
Certainly, very wise advice. And so I think all that remains for me is to thank you all. Thank you very much, Lisa. Thanks to the nearly 90 people who joined, at its peak, because now you've spent an hour and a half here. That advice is now going to help you throughout your applications that are coming up in the next few weeks and months. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much. It was such a big pleasure, and I'm looking forward to the next steps. And if you need help with CV, cover letter, LinkedIn, me and Clio, we're very happy to help you.
Very much. All right. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.